Let's talk Nokia stock. What's happening to Nokia? Is Nokia going to go up in 2020? Should I keep buying Nokia? Should I sell out my Nokia? We're going to talk all about that in a couple of news that I've seen and reading articles. But before we go into that, first of all, guys, thank you all so much. We just hit 600 subscribers. It's actually a pretty big milestone. So thank you for everybody who subscribed. And for those of you who haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Drop down a comment. I subscribe, and I'll definitely reply to all the comments down there below. All right. That being said, guys, let's talk about Nokia. All right. So for me personally, the reason why I'm making this video is I was on my Wealthsimple account and I just scrolled. I saw Nokia and I was like down 40%. And I was like down like I don't have a huge position, but it's down like $100. I'm like, damn. I'm like, this kind of sucks. Like I was planning on riding it out anyways, but I'm like, what's actually happening with Nokia? Because ever since the Wall Street bet kind of faded away, we've shifted to different kind of stocks. We've shifted to energy stocks. We shifted to EV stocks. We shifted to a lot of it. Cannabis is blowing up right now. But I'm like, hey, what's happening with Nokia? And I was reading some articles, and I'm not gonna lie, the first article I read, I don't know if I should link it because I don't want to scare you guys, but it made it look like Nokia is a joke. Nokia is gonna have a really bad year, and it was just, I guess, like, it's just showing how tough Nokia is. And yeah, there are some facts behind it saying how it's decreased by 4% in their revenues fell by 6% compared to 2020. They had huge plans for 5G networks. They even stopped paying dividends to use that cash to implement their business to expand it. So, but the summary of the article was that Nokia is probably going to have another rough year, and the article suggested that you probably shouldn't buy any more shares in Nokia, but you shouldn't necessarily sell your shares in Nokia either because of depending on the price point you bought in. Now, if you're like me and you bought at the peak, right, expecting it to go up, unfortunately, we don't see that happening in the near future. However, do I see Nokia hitting $10? Definitely, and we're going to go into exactly why. It's funny because the news outlets, depending on which outlet you go to, they're going to say one stock is so superior, and the other outlet will say the stock is trash. The next website I fell across is saying, oh, buy at the dips, because Nokia is planning to dominate the 5G network section. So the article kind of referred back to Nokia's website, and apparently Nokia claimed by 2030 they will be delivering $8 trillion in value around the world. And what does that mean? That means by their implementation of their 5G networks. They also say they're going to dominate up to 20% of the 5G network scene and above, which it sounds pretty interesting. So the reason why I'm making this video is for those of you who aren't in Nokia, it might be honestly, it might be a good time to buy Nokia. Jokes aside, like is Nokia going to the moon? Probably not. But I mean, going from $4 to $10 is a pretty decent gain depending on how many shares you buy. So that being said, Nokia might be a good point of entry for those who aren't invested in. For those of you who bought at the high, it's going to be something where I personally, like, my strategy is I'm not buying any more shares in Nokia. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to ride it out and keep holding, right? Because what's going to happen in the next few weeks is, and buddies in my Discord are saying the same thing, is they're closing out their Nokia, their AMC, their Gamestop, all the Blackberry, the hype stocks, all the hype stocks, are closing them out and moving them to cannabis, which is like probably, like, depending on your strategy, it might be dumb because you're gonna get burnt. You already got burnt in Nokia. You're gonna go to the cannabis stock, go get burnt there. I wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend, and what I'm gonna personally do, is I'm gonna ride this out because the claims they're making, and I was on their website watching the video their CEO made talking about the development of 5G and how they plan to implement 5G, how they plan to implement and become a big part of 5G networks worldwide. It's very interesting. It got my brows raised because I'm like, okay, hold on. If they actually became an industry leader, buying the share for $4 a share, and if it pops to 10 and above, right? Even if it was to go 20, 30, by 2030, we could really see the stock has some crazy gains. I'm like, okay, this is something where I could just let it sit and ride. And I honestly recommend, again, this is not financial advice, but I don't want to say recommend because you got to do your own due diligence here. But this is something that I'm planning on riding out. And honestly, do your research, but you should probably do the same thing. And for those of you wondering, like, if you want to buy a position in Nokia, honestly, guys, it doesn't like I feel like it's at its lowest. Everything I'm saying here, you're gonna have to do your own research because you gotta understand what you as an investor are interested in. Because for me, I'm interested in technology. I love the tech stocks, right? So when I see 5G as a potential, I'm like, okay, if these are gonna be a big player in the game, I'll leave that in there because I'm banking on their 5G. They're done with phones, right? They're not competing with Apple and any other phone company. Like, they sold off their phone sector back in 2014 to Microsoft. So them being repositioned and changing into the 5G sector, it's a good move. And you guys gotta understand, Nokia is a global brand, okay? It's a huge company. They have a huge team, so I don't see Nokia going away. So my fear of it going bankrupt is definitely out of the picture. I do see a huge upside, and if we could see Nokia hit $10 by the end of the year, or even if it takes a couple of years, it's something that I'm willing to wait. And I recommend, if you're already in, you may as well wait. But if you're not in and you're looking for like just a small portion of your money to like kind of put to work, this might be a good move. However, guys, listen, you gotta understand, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because there's a ton of stocks you can invest in. There's a ton of different companies where you can make so much more profit so much sooner. Nokia is not the be all end all. This is more obviously direct to those of you who are already invested in Nokia. But if you're not invested in Nokia, it's something this is not the hot pick right now, and this is like there are stocks that have better potential, is what I'm trying to say here, right? Even if you were to buy one share of Tesla instead of buying Nokia, it could most likely be a much better move, or put something in safer like Apple. But for my buddies holding Nokia, I'm diamond hands, baby. I'm gonna ride this all the way to the moon, and I do see Nokia hitting $10 in the future, so it's something I'm gonna ride out, because guys, you gotta understand, I said this so many times already, but they're gonna be dominating the 5G sector. That being said, guys, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe. What are you waiting for? Let's get this channel to 1,000 subscribers. And like I said, if you do subscribe right now, drop a comment down below, I subscribe, and let's connect. I'm gonna reply, we'll have a little convo. And if you haven't already, we have a free Discord community down below. It's popping. We have like 200 plus members, and it's a fast growing community. We're having pop-in chats about stocks all times of the day. So if that's something you want to be a part of, make sure you join that below. Until next time, guys, only invest the money you're willing to lose. It's Umar. Peace.